It's Nobody here, and I'm back with another episode of my Topical Minecraft Let's Play. Okay, so I already made a video about this on my main channel. It's like really loud, hold up. But I'm still thinking about it. It's just something that I'm still thinking about, and I thought I would talk about it here as well, okay? I'm sorry, but I mean, okay, so obviously if somehow you aren't aware, Marvel and Sony have reached a not reached an agreement, I should say, and yes, Spider-Man's not going to be in the MCU anymore. By the way, every time I record this series, I record like each episode a week out, or not a week out, but I record like one episode a week, and I completely forget what I was doing in the last episode. But yeah, like I'm probably just gonna build a house or something. But no, onto the topic. Sony and Disney could not strike a deal, and Spider-Man is not going to be in the MCU. And so here's the thing. Here's the flippity-dipping thing. I'm actually on Sony's side on this one. Sony is absolutely in the right here. So let me set the stage for you a bit. So if you don't know how their deal worked in the past, allow me to enlighten you. So basically, Sony and Disney, I guess it would have been around like 2015. They came to a deal, right, where Spider-Man, Sony would allow Disney to use Spider-Man in the MCU, and Sony's Spider-Man movies would also be in the MCU. I mean, that's the deal. And the financials of that deal were really a good deal on both sides. So Sony, they would make their movies, and they would keep 95% of the box office, and Disney would keep 5%. And you might be going like, hey, hold on a second, buddy. That's maybe Disney should get some more of that. And you know what? Honestly, if that's not even necessarily an unreasonable thing to say. But what's also the case is that, okay, I could be wrong about this next thing, but I'm pretty sure that every time Spider-Man was in a Disney produced Marvel movie, I don't think that Disney actually paid Sony any of that revenue. I'm pretty sure that Marvel just got to use Spider-Man, but obviously it's still beneficial because Spider-Man being in like the Avengers is just gonna be marketing for whatever movie Sony's making, right? But either way, I don't think that that Disney actually had to pay Sony anything. And on top of that, Marvel owns the merchandising rights to Spider-Man. Because back when Sony was in some financial trouble, they actually sold back. I believe Disney owned Marvel at the time, but either way, they sold back the merchandising rights and the television rights. They sold that back to Disney. So not only every time Sony made a Spider-Man movie, not only I'm talking about with Tom Holland, not only did they get a cut, they made an assload of money on the merchandising rights by selling toys and T-shirts and Spider-Man masks, whatever the case may be, underwear, whatever. Marvel made 100% of that revenue. So, like, people acting like, you know, Sony was getting the like way too good of a deal, and, you know, Disney deserves more money and all that. Disney was the deal was extremely beneficial for both parties. So, anyways, that was me kind of setting the stage of where we were at. And also, I should add, like, people act like, oh, the Spider-Man franchise was in such trouble, and then Disney came in and saved it. I should say, I feel like it should be noted as well that while, yes, prior to the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, you know, the Sony Spider-Man movies, they were not great from a quality perspective. But financially, they were still making bucket loads of money. Just tons and tons of money. Like, get this. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, right? Horrible movie, don't get me wrong. But it still made, like, over $700 million. I think it was like $780 million. I think it was around that range. So, at their low point, Sony was making $700 million off of a Spider-Man movie. What was it disappointing? Maybe. I actually think it was for them. I think they wanted more out of that movie. But by no means was Spider-Man dead. I should have made an axe. What am I doing? By no means was Spider-Man dead, and, you know, and Disney came in and saved the franchise. Yes, Disney came in and saved them. Oh, the Spider-Man franchise was in such dire straits, and Disney came in riding on a shiny white horse, and they saved it. That's not the case. So that should also be said. I can't remember what point I was making before I before I said this. I think, oh yeah, I was talking about how people are going like, Disney deserves more money. Like I said before, they were making plenty of money off of this deal, and it's like Sony was being generous in a way. While, yes, don't get me wrong, like, Far From Home just made $1 billion and became the most successful Sony movie, not just Spider-Man movie, but Sony movie, right? So obviously, the MCU has absolutely helped the Spider-Man franchise. But guys, don't act like the franchise was in dire straits, and like it's not like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 made like $300 million or something, right? So let's not be hyperbolic here. And okay, so with all that information, and by the way, not just Spider-Man movies, they just made Venom, which Venom made like $800 million worldwide. Now, Venom is just the most bonkers, bizarre, one of the most bonkers, bizarre movies I've ever seen. Just in how, I mean, it's not good. And it's just a weird movie to me. It's like such a, I don't know, it's bizarre. That's honestly, that might be that's a video on my main channel in and of itself. I think I did make a video about it. But that movie made $800 million. So, like, it's not like Spider-Man was in such a dire state where Disney came in and they were like, "Ah, yes, Sony, we will come in and save you." No, it was a business agreement that benefited both parties. So I feel like that should be stated. And now, if you don't know, if you aren't aware, now I'm gonna tell you oh yeah, by the way, Spider-Man Far From Home came out this year, and I believe that was like the last movie on their old deal, under their new deal. That was the last movie, and in order to continue in the MCU, they had to they had to come to a new agreement, right? And this is what Disney tried to do. This is the deal that they tried to make. They wanted a 50% revenue split on the Spider-Man movies. Now, I hope I don't need to to tell you that that is insane. Like, that is actually insane. Like, Spider-Man is Sony's by far their highest grossing franchise. Actually, James Bond. No, I know it's the highest grossing franchise, but I'm sure James Bond comes close. But either way, Spider-Man is Sony's highest grossing franchise. How are you gonna ask for 50% of a revenue split from their movie? And not only that, but like I think what am I doing? Sorry, I was just thinking about my house. But like, I fucking hate like stripping the wood from its bark. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah, like that is to take 50% of their revenue. I mean, that's just unreasonable. That is completely unreasonable. But it doesn't even end there. They also, because I think one of the things is that also like Sony finances the movie. They pay for everything because it's their movie, right? Their movies just happen to coexist within the MCU. But make no mistake about it, the Spider-Man: Homecoming and Far From Home were Sony's movies. And so they would pay for it. And, you know, but Marvel was also like, hey, we'll help finance the movies as well. So we should get we'll help finance the movies, and we'll get a 50-50 revenue split. It's such a wonderful deal that we're making, yes. But that's not like that. That's actually not, because if they're going to be if it's going to be a 50-50 revenue split and a 50-50 financing deal, then Sony is basically giving up a bunch of creative control as well. And there's just no real reason why Sony would agree with that. Like, why would they? Right? Like that's the thing. It's so insane. Oh, and by the way, it doesn't even end there. So Marvel also wanted that, like, the same deal with the rest of Sony's Spider-Man properties. So that being like Venom 2 and Morbius, and I don't know did they confirm Kraven the Hunter was a thing? I don't even know, but like obviously Sony's also trying to create their own like other like cinematic universe separate from the MCU. Disney also wanted a part of that. Like, what are you guys doing? So I want people to understand, because I know, and I get it. It's like people's first instincts are to go, Sony sucks, and we're gonna be on Marvel's side. And I'm just telling you guys, like, no. Marvel is being completely ridiculous with their demands. It's insane. Like, I'm baffled that Marvel like would do that with a straight face and think that that's something that Sony's gonna agree to. Like, what did they like? What's I I don't know. I don't know. And so here's the thing. Like, Sony has actually been kind of a good sport about it, because I think that they're maybe hoping that in some way they can, like, come to an agreement with Marvel without having to meet their insane demands, because, like, they, like, tweeted out, they didn't, like, speak, they didn't say anything bad about Marvel or Disney. Yeah, when I say Marvel and Disney, I kind of mean them interchangeably in this instance, but... Like, they were basically like, hey, you know, we and Disney, we couldn't come to an agreement. It was a weird tweet, because it said something like, Marvel feels like Kevin Feige has too much on his plate or whatever, and, you know, they don't want him, you know, with all their projects going on, you know, with the Fox acquisition, they're introducing so many characters into their cinematic universe. You know, they don't want him focusing on an IP that isn't theirs. It was a really weird tweet, and one that I kind of don't buy, because so here's the thing, Marvel. Okay, Disney, literally all they're going to care about is making money. Like, they're not sitting around being like, oh, Kevin Feige, he's working too much. It's very bad. It's very bad that he's working so much. Oh, no. How can we expect this of him? Like, no. If it's a deal that's going to make them money, which it was... Of course, they're still gonna want him to do it. Are you kidding me? Disney does not give a rat's ass about Kevin Feige's well-being. So I don't know. That seems really off to me. Like I kind of don't believe that, like, at all. But at the same time, like, that deal is so beyond ridiculous that it's honestly not crazy to suggest that maybe not for the Kevin Feige reason, but for some other reason, like maybe they feel like they're too busy and they have too much things on their plate, and maybe they just don't want to deal with Spider-Man anymore, so they're like, you know what, let's give them a deal so insane, so ludicrous, that Sony's going to be forced to not take it. That's a stretch. I mean, don't get me wrong, that is a stretch, but I don't know. The deal is so insane that I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to suggest something like that. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I still feel like I don't think that Disney would do that. I do think they genuinely want that much money. I don't know. This is so great. It's so much to think, like, how. And I mean, oh gosh. And so I don't know. Like, for me, so here's the thing. I think that overall I've really liked so now I'm basically just going to talk about, I'm going to transition away from the business side of it. I mainly do want to get across that people should not be so quick to hate on Sony for this, because ultimately this was Disney's decision. They were the ones that pulled out. Like, before, people would get kind of scared that for some reason Sony would pull out because, oh, maybe they don't want to share revenue with Disney. I remember people, and including myself, were kind of scared that, oh, maybe Sony's gonna pull out. None of us expected this. None of us expected Marvel to be the ones to do it. But alas, that is the case. So I'm gonna transition away from the, I kind of want to make the edges birch. Sorry, but anyways, allow me to transition away from the business side of it, and allow me now to just talk about it from a fan's perspective. I'm not overly distressed about it. So, and here's why. I've really liked what the MCU has done with it, and yeah, I'd like to see, because I'd like to see how where Peter's character goes, you know, going further into the MCU. I would like to see that. However, I also like Spider-Man being his... I like Spider-Man just being Spider-Man and not having to deal, you know, and not being, you know, just another cog in the wheel that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know if that's... I don't know if I'm really phrasing that right, but I don't know, part of me is kind of excited to see Spider-Man just be Spider-Man and not be in the MCU. I mean, look, at the end of the day, would I rather have Spider-Man be in the MCU? Yes, because while I was not, you know, when I made a review, I think I was one of the more negative. I feel like I was one of the more negative, or I made one of the more negative reviews for Far From Home on my main channel. But at the end of the day, I still liked it. But honestly, the more that time goes by, the less I like Far From Home, actually. And I think I'm kind of at the point where it's like, yeah, I don't really like it. But either way, aside from that, I love Spider-Man Homecoming. I absolutely adore that movie. And I've loved Spider-Man in Civil War, I loved him in Infinity War, and I loved him in Endgame. So, yes, I would like to see where they wanted to take the character in the MCU. So, yes, I would have rather that have been the case, but seeing Spider-Man not be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in a way, I'm kind of excited. Like, I'm not too worked up about it, I guess I should say. Yeah, I'm not too worked up about it, but it's gonna be really weird, because I mean, now, like, because I mean, if you've seen Far From Home, you know, they were basically setting Peter up to kind of be like the next Tony Stark in a way, and now they're like what are they gonna do? Like, how are they gonna... How are they... I mean, I guess they're just not gonna reference him again. But it's gonna be weird being like, huh, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, who dat? I never heard of no Peter Parker. Who dat? Who dat? I don't know who that is. What you talking about? Yeah, that's obviously gonna be really weird. And on the Sony end of it, it's going to be like, yeah, I was actually of the mind that it was probably going to be harder for the MCU to explain. What? That's not nearly enough stairs. What am I doing? But now that I think about it, I do think it's probably going to be harder for Sony to explain Spider-Man not being able to interact with any of the Marvel-related characters. Because, by the way, I'd mentioned in my video, I'd seen a video a while back where they kind of explained why, like, characters like Ned and Michelle, why they chose them to be in the in Spider-Man Homecoming instead of like your traditional like Harry Osborns and Mary Jane Watson. And I don't really understand the minutia of all that, but basically what that video kind of explained was that, and I said I was going to put it in the description of my video that I put on my main channel, but I just couldn't find the video again. I'll try and look for it. But basically what that video kind of explained was that, like, Sony picked those characters because they like, in the event that what just happened would happen, where for some reason they wouldn't move forward with another deal, and because basically it's weird, but and who knows, it was just a YouTube video, so like maybe it's not even accurate, but I think like characters like yes, they can still use like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like characters that are integral, right? Like, yes, they can still use those versions, like the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I assume the Aunt May character, or maybe not even. I don't know. But like side characters, kind of like Mary Jane and Harry Osborn, like for example, like Ned and Michelle, like I think that those versions of those characters with Zendaya playing them and what's his name, something Babylon, I think is the guy who plays Ned. Sorry, I forgot his name, but or Jacob Batalon, that's his name. Like I think those are like MCU specific versions of those characters, and I actually don't think that Sony can use them. So I just don't think that Zendaya and Jacob Batalon, I don't think they're going to be in whatever movie Sony makes next, which is, yeah, that's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. Not to mention that this Spider-Man uses a lot of Stark tech. He's just not going to have any of that in the next movie. You know, like it's gonna be just a lot of really weird things where it's just not gonna work. It's gonna be really weird. I mean, and to be honest, I have to now, even though it's gonna be weird and it's gonna be jarring, I do think that they are still gonna stick with Tom Holland. I don't think that they're gonna move on, that they're gonna reboot again, because I mean, ooh, another reboot. That would be insanity if they actually did that. Unless they tried to do something like a live action Miles Morales movie, you know, with the success of Into the Spider-Verse. Unless they did something like that that's like different. I mean, I can't imagine them doing another reboot. Like, I don't know, that would be that would just be ridiculous if they did another reboot. So I do think that they're gonna stick with Tom Holland. I assume it might just end up being just a massive retcon, where, you know, Ned and Michelle just aren't there. I saw I saw a tweet that I kind of like the idea of this. I feel like this could actually work, where, you know, Tom Holland, he's like 23 now, where age him up a bit. Have him be in college, right? And have him be in college, and then you can, I mean, yeah, just be like, Michelle, Ned, who that? I don't know who that is. Who Michelle? Michelle Obama, the president's wife? Is that who you're talking about? I don't know, no Michelle. What you talking about? But have him be in college, and then you can actually introduce Mary Jane and Harry Osborn. I mean, that's kind of a route that they could go to. Again, like I said before, no matter what they do, it's gonna be jarring. It's gonna be weird. But yeah, I don't think Sony had a choice here. Marvel, when Marvel was asking, you guys need to understand, was absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I'm actually gonna end this here. I think I basically said all that I need to say. This situation is ridiculous, but either way, if you did enjoy this, by the way, I'm starting my house, but yeah, either way, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.